The Monkey King you know, the one from Black Myth, Wukong, the staff-wielding warrior who fights through corrupted gods and Buddhist nightmares, is based on one of the most famous characters in all of world literature. 20 million people bought that game, and most of them, especially in the West, had never heard of Journey to the West before they pressed start. But the real Sun Wukong, the one from the original 16th century novel, did things that make the game version look restrained. He defeated 100,000 heavenly soldiers by himself. He achieved not one, not two, but 5 separate forms of immortality. And the only being in the entire cosmos powerful enough to stop him was Buddha himself. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the real myth behind the Monkey King, the ancient Chinese novel he comes from, the centuries of folklore that shaped him, and then show you, point by point, how black myth. Wukong takes the original story and turns its deepest message completely upside down. Let's start with the name itself. Sun Wukong. 3 characters, each one chosen with surgical precision. Sun is the surname, and it means monkey, but not in the crude sense. It carries the connotation of something awakened, something that has transcended its animal nature. Wu means awakened to, or aware of. Kong means emptiness, a foundational concept in Buddhist philosophy, referring to the true nature of all things, the idea that nothing possesses a permanent independent self. Sun Wukong, monkey awakened to emptiness. That name is not where he started. He was not born with it. He earned it, or more precisely, it was given to him by a master who saw something in a wild, unruly creature that the creature could not yet see in himself. Before that name, he was simply the stone monkey, and the story of how a monkey born from a rock on a remote mountain became a being whose name encodes one of the deepest truths in Buddhist philosophy. That is the real story of Journey to the West. Now, to understand who Sun Wukong is, you need to understand where he comes from, not just his origin, but his origin in literature. Because unlike Greek or Norse myths, which evolved orally over centuries before being written down, Sun Wukong's definitive story comes from a single massive novel. Journey to the West, attributed to the scholar Wu Chenggen, published around 1592 during the Ming dynasty. It is one of the 4 great classical novels of Chinese literature, a designation that places it alongside works like Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Dream of the Red Chamber. It is 100 chapters long. Let that sink in. 100 chapters. It is one of the longest and most complex novels written before the modern era, and it has been in continuous cultural circulation in China for over 400 years. In the West, most people encountered it through Arthur Waley's 1942 abridged translation, simply titled Monkey, a version that captured the spirit but cut roughly 2/3 of the text. The full scholarly translation by Anthony C. Yu, published by the University of Chicago Press in 4 volumes, runs to nearly 2,000 pages. That is the depth of source material we are working with here. And the novel itself was drawing on centuries of earlier folklore. Stories about the historical monk Xuanzang's pilgrimage to India in the 7th century had been growing and accumulating fantastical elements for nearly 1,000 years before Wu Chenggen wove them into a single narrative. Sun Wukong may have roots in the Hindu monkey god Hanuman, or in Chinese folk traditions about supernatural monkeys. Scholars still debate the origins, but it is Wu Chenggen's version that became definitive. When people say the Monkey King, they mean his Monkey King. So let us enter the novel the way the novel begins, with a birth that is not really a birth at all. On the mountain of flowers and fruit, in the land of Aolai across the eastern sea, there stands an immortal stone. Wu Chenggen tells us this stone had been nourished by the essences of heaven and earth for eons, absorbing the creative force of the cosmos itself. One day this stone cracks open, and from within it emerges a stone egg the size of a ball. The wind blows upon it, and it transforms into a stone monkey with fully formed features, eyes, ears, mouth, limbs. And the moment this monkey opens its eyes, 2 beams of golden light shoot from them so intensely that they reach the palace of the Jade Emperor in heaven. The ruler of the celestial realm sends scouts to investigate. They report back that it is merely a monkey, and the light will fade as he feeds on earthly things. The heavens dismiss him. They will not make that mistake only once. The stone monkey explores his island paradise, befriends the other monkeys, and earns their loyalty through an act of pure daring. He leaps through a tremendous waterfall and discovers a hidden cave behind it, the Water Curtain Cave. The monkeys crown him their king. and for a time this is enough. He rules, he plays, he feasts. But then something changes. One day, in the middle of a celebration, the Monkey King begins to weep. His subjects ask why. He says, "Because one day I will die." He has realized that even a king of monkeys is still mortal. Old age, sickness, death. They will come for him as they come for everything. This is the moment that sets the entire novel in motion. Not anger, not ambition, fear of death. The Monkey King's entire journey begins because he is terrified of impermanence. He leaves his kingdom and crosses the ocean on a makeshift raft. He wanders the human world for years, a monkey walking among men, learning their customs, being mocked and ignored. He is searching for a master who can teach him the secret of immortality. Eventually, he finds the patriarch Subhuti, a Taoist and Buddhist sage living in a mountain cave. Subhuti sees potential in the monkey and accepts him as a disciple. It is Subhuti who gives him the name Sun Wukong, monkey awakened to emptiness, a Buddhist name given by a master who is trying to point his student towards something beyond the mere physical survival the monkey craves. Subhuti teaches Wukong the 72 transformations, the ability to change into virtually anything: a tree, a temple, a fly, another person, a weapon. And he teaches him cloud somersaulting, the power to travel 108,000 li in a single leap. That is roughly 33,000 miles, in one jump. The monkey who was afraid of death now has powers that make him functionally untouchable. But Subhuti also sees something dangerous. When Wukong shows off his transformations to the other students, Subhuti expels him. He tells Wukong never to reveal who taught him these arts. The master can see where this is going. Power without wisdom, ability without restraint. Subhuti gave him a name that means awakened to emptiness, but the monkey has learned everything except the emptiness part. And what Wukong does next proves Subhuti right. He returns to the mountain of flowers and fruit, defeats a demon who has invaded his kingdom, and immediately begins expanding his power. He crashes the underwater palace of the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea and demands a weapon. The dragons show him their armory. Nothing is good enough. He is impossible to satisfy. Then he sees it, a massive iron pillar wedged in the corner, glowing with golden bands. The dragons tell him it is the Rui Jingu Bang, the as-you-wish gold-banded cudgel. It was used by the Great Yu, a legendary hero king, to measure the depth of the Milky Way during the primordial floods. It weighs 17,550 pounds. It can grow to reach the heavens or shrink to the size of a needle and tuck behind his ear. Wukong picks it up as if it weighs nothing. The pillar recognizes its new owner. He takes it and walks out. The Dragon King is left standing in a half-destroyed palace, with no leverage to stop him. But the monkey is not done. He descends to the underworld itself, to the realm of King Yama, the judge of the dead. He fights his way to the registry, the book of life and death, which records the lifespan of every living being. He finds his own entry, Sun Wukong, natural lifespan 342 years. He picks up a brush and crosses his name out. Then he crosses out the names of every monkey on the mountain of flowers and fruit. He makes himself and all of his subjects immortal by bureaucratic erasure. He has now stolen a divine weapon, terrorized the Dragon Kings, and vandalized the cosmic record of mortality. Heaven can no longer ignore him. The Jade Emperor, ruler of the celestial bureaucracy, tries diplomacy first. He invites Wukong to heaven and offers him a position, protector of the horses. It is the most menial rank in the celestial hierarchy, essentially a stable boy. Wukong doesn't know this at first. He accepts proudly. But when he discovers the truth, that every other deity in heaven outranks him, his response is volcanic. He declares himself the great sage equal to heaven, Dasheng, equal to heaven, not beneath it, not serving it, equal to it. The Jade Emperor tries again. He offers Wukong the title officially, hoping to placate him. It works, briefly. But then Wukong is assigned to guard the peaches of immortality, the sacred fruit of the goddess Queen Mother of the West. The peaches ripen once every thousands of years, and eating one grants eternal life. Wukong eats them. He eats nearly all of them. Then he crashes the heavenly banquet held in honor of the gods, drinks the celestial wine, devours Laozi's pills of immortality, and stumbles back to the mountain of flowers and fruit. He has now achieved immortality through 5 separate methods. his own cultivation, the crossed-out death register, the peaches, the wine, and the elixir pills. He is by this point functionally indestructible. The Jade Emperor has no choice left. He sends an army. The novel describes it plainly: 100,000 celestial soldiers, led by the 4 heavenly kings and the divine warrior Prince Nezha, the most powerful military force the heavens can muster, assembled to crush a single monkey. Wukong defeats them all. He fights Nezha, one of the most powerful warrior deities in the Chinese pantheon, to a standstill. He outmaneuvers the heavenly kings. The celestial army breaks. A monkey born from a stone on a remote island has humiliated the entire military apparatus of heaven. The Jade Emperor, now desperate, calls upon the greatest power in the Buddhist cosmos, the Buddha himself. Buddha arrives and makes Wukong a bet. If you are truly as powerful as you claim, he says, fly off the palm of my hand. If you can escape my palm, I will concede that you deserve to rule heaven. Wukong leaps. He somersaults through the void, travelling what feels like an infinite distance. He arrives at what appears to be the edge of the universe, 5 enormous pillars stretching into nothingness. He writes his name on one of them as proof that he was there. He urinates at the base of another, marking his territory like the animal he fundamentally still is. Then he somersaults back, triumphant. Buddha opens his hand. The 5 pillars were his fingers. Wukong never left his palm. The name is still written there, on one golden finger. And Wukong can smell his own urine on another. In that moment, the entire scope of the monkey's power, every transformation, every cloud somersault, every act of defiance, is revealed to be contained within something infinitely larger. Buddha turns his hand over and traps Wukong beneath a mountain. 5 elements. Mountain, gold, wood, water, fire, and earth seal him in place. He will remain there for 500 years. The monkey who feared death now has an eternity he cannot use. That is the end of the first act of Journey to the West, and the novel is only getting started. 5 centuries later, a Buddhist monk named Tangsanzang, known in the West as Tripitaka, is sent on a holy mission, travel from China to India to retrieve sacred Buddhist scriptures. The Bodhisattva Guanyin arranges for Wukong's release on one condition: he must serve as Tripitaka's protector and disciple on the pilgrimage. A golden band is placed on his head. Whenever the monk chants a certain sutra, the band tightens, causing Wukong excruciating pain. It is a leash, a reminder. The monkey who declared himself equal to heaven now serves a physically weak, often foolish human monk, and cannot disobey him without agony. The journey takes 14 years, 81 tribulations, a specific number with deep Buddhist significance, representing the completeness of suffering that must be endured before enlightenment. Along the way, Wukong is joined by 2 other disgraced celestial beings forced into service. Zhu Bajie, the pig, a former heavenly marshal punished for his lust, and Xiao Wujing, the sand monk, a former celestial general punished for breaking a crystal goblet. 3 sinners, 1 innocent monk, 1 horse that is actually a dragon prince. This is the pilgrimage party. And through those 81 trials, something happens to Wukong that is easy to miss if you are focused on the fights. He changes, not all at once, not dramatically. But the monkey who began the novel in a rage of ego and defiance slowly, painfully learns compassion. He learns restraint. He learns that power without wisdom is just destruction wearing a crown. The name Subhuti gave him awakened to emptiness, which meant nothing to him when he received it, gradually becomes true. At the end of the novel, after all 81 tribulations are endured, Wukong is granted the ultimate reward. He achieves Buddhahood. He becomes the victorious fighting Buddha. The being who once demanded to be called equal to heaven has transcended heaven entirely. He has gone beyond gods, beyond demons, beyond the cycle of death and rebirth that terrified him as a young monkey weeping at a feast. His fear of death drove him to accumulate power, and it was only by surrendering that power, by serving, by suffering, by learning, that he achieved something greater than immortality. That is the story. Now let us look at what game science built. Black Myth. Wukong, released in 2024 by the Chinese studio Game Science, sold 20 million copies and became one of the best-selling games of the year. It introduced the Monkey King to millions of Western players who had never read Journey to the West. But the game does not retell the novel. It is set after the novel ends, after Wukong achieved Buddhahood. And that timing is everything. In the novel, achieving Buddhahood is the culmination of a lifetime of spiritual transformation. It is the reward, the destination, the entire point. In the game, achieving Buddhahood is reframed as something else entirely. The game suggests that when Sun Wukong became a Buddha, he didn't transcend, he was erased. His power, his identity, his defiance, all of it dissolved. The relics you collect as the Destined One are fragments of the original Wukong scattered and hidden. The game asks a question the novel never considered. What if enlightenment was the final cage? Here is where the inversions become systematic. In the novel, Wukong's journey from rebel to Buddha is portrayed as growth. He begins as a creature of ego and ends as a being of wisdom. In the game, that same journey is portrayed as loss. The Destined One exists because the original Wukong is gone. And the game treats his absence as a tragedy, not a triumph. In the novel, the golden headband is a necessary tool of discipline. Wukong needs it. Without it, he would abandon the pilgrimage, fight everyone, and learn nothing. It causes him pain, but that pain is part of his education. In the game, the headband is a symbol of oppression. It represents the system's method of breaking a spirit too wild to control. In the novel, the celestial bureaucracy, the Jade Emperor, the heavenly courts, the Buddhist hierarchy, is flawed, but ultimately correct. The system works. Wukong is integrated into it, and this is presented as his salvation. In the game, the celestial bureaucracy is corrupt, self-serving, and willing to destroy anyone who threatens its power. The system does not save Wukong. It consumes him. In the novel, Buddha is the wisest being in the cosmos. His intervention stops the monkey's destructive rampage, and his offer of Buddhahood at the end is genuine liberation. In the game, the Buddha's role is far more ambiguous. The power structures that contained Wukong are not presented as benevolent. They are presented as systems that neutralize threats by calling imprisonment enlightenment. In the novel, the ending is triumphant. Wukong achieves Buddhahood and his story is complete. In the game, the ending is a question mark. Was the original Wukong freed or destroyed? Can the Destined One reassemble what was lost? And if Wukong could be brought back, would he even want to return to the system that claimed to save him? Game Science's creative director Feng Ji has spoken about the studio's approach in multiple interviews, including at GDC 2024. The team grew up with Journey to the West. It is foundational to Chinese culture in the way that the Iliad is foundational to Western literature. They did not misunderstand the source material. They deliberately subverted it. The game is not an adaptation of the novel. It is an argument with the novel. A 400-year-old conversation about power, freedom, and spiritual submission, continued by a generation that read the same text and reached a different conclusion. And this is what makes the inversion so fascinating, because both readings are genuinely present in the original text. Wu Cheng'an was not writing simple propaganda for Buddhism. Journey to the West is a deeply satirical novel. The celestial bureaucracy is portrayed as petty, incompetent, and obsessed with hierarchy. The Jade Emperor is often depicted as weak and indecisive. Many of the demons the pilgrims face turn out to be escaped pets of bodhisattvas and Buddhas, divine beings who cannot even keep their own households in order. Scholars have debated for centuries whether the novel is ultimately pro-Buddhist, anti-establishment, or something more complex, a work that endorses the spiritual journey while ruthlessly mocking the institutions that claim to manage it. Game Science took that ambiguity and pulled the thread. The uncomfortable truth the original novel forces you to confront is this: the being who was most alive, most powerful, most himself, the monkey who shook heaven and terrified the cosmos, is the one who must be broken before the story can call him enlightened. Wukong at the beginning of the novel is dangerous, chaotic, and magnificent. Wukong at the end is peaceful, transcendent, and quiet. The novel asks you to believe